Welcome back to How Come, you guys. This episode is late because I am part of Procrastination Nation. Sorry, but if you have been procrastinating something very, very important, aka voting, go fucking vote. Mail-in voting is too late. If you're hearing this now, you cannot do mail-in voting anymore. Vote in person or take it to a drop box. This week we're talking to Mary Beth Barone about fuckboys, and we're also talking about the importance of voting. Amy Coney Barrett just got sworn in as Supreme Court Justice. You hear about that, Ben?
Terrible.
Horrible. And
she's so underqualified. It's unbelievable.
She's so underqualified.
And her views are just not really aligned with anything that I find to be
progressive. Good for
to be
anybody
good
else.
For
that's
any
not
for good for humanity.
her. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like a lot of Republicans vote with this idea, and I was raised with a similar mentality that it's like, oh, Roe versus Wade, it's never going to be overturned, and even if it is, you'll still have access to stuff. Mm-hmm. You know, like very like, it's fine, like New York, well, you'll be fine. And like, I used to think that that was okay. That's not an okay way to think. Like, everybody needs to have access to healthcare. Abortion is healthcare.
Totally.
And so, yeah, voting is important because we got to get the ultimate fuckboy out of office. Donald Trump is the fuckboy supreme.
Correct.
And he's not even the type that like doesn't realize he's doing it. Like, he gaslights the shit out of you. He fucks all your friends. No, he's doing it all on
purpose. Yep.
Yeah.
He's a crazy sociopath.
Yeah. So get him out and go vote and wear your masks and be safe and
get
stuff.
Get out there.
And you can go early. Like, people have been.
Make a day of it. Make it fun.
This intro is recorded in 2 parts. We're in New Jersey right now.
Yeah.
But like, people in New York have been lining up for like days already.
Yeah. Everybody's taking it super serious, as should you. Get out there and just do it. If it takes all day, make a day of it. It needs to be done. Go out and vote.
Yeah, go vote. And also, did you hear what he said?
Did I hear what
Donald Trump said?
About about the husbands?
Yeah, we're getting your husbands back to work. He still doesn't realize that women have jobs.
That's not even the worst thing he said.
Oh, what else did he say?
You're surprised. That's what you're excited about? That's the least worst thing he's ever said.
He said? I mean, obviously, but I'm saying recently.
Yeah, recently he said we're getting your husbands back to work, implying that nobody in the where was it, in Michigan?
Yeah, or in the workforce,
or in the workforce, or his fan base is a woman that's working. But that's the thing. That is something that I am going to say is his fan base likes that kind of shit. That they are in the mindset that, and there are a lot of female Trump supporters that are in the mindset of, I want to be provided for, and the male is supposed to go to work.
And I get it. I used to be of that mindset that it was like, oh yeah, why wouldn't you want to like kick back and like have somebody do everything? You just have to pop out kids.
He's not saying it. He's not saying this shit for us. Ever.
I know.
I
know. I know.
For anybody.
I know. I wasn't like, I'm not ever shocked that I'm offended by him, but like, I was like, oh wow, like, you really don't think we have jobs.
Well, yeah. Well, no. I think that he thinks that, and he is also playing to his crowd, and that's like, they want COVID to not be real. They want COVID to not be real, and they want their kids back in school.
Also, just people who have like grown up around like that mindset, like they don't know the difference. Like, we just watched Borat 2.
It's people. Yeah, great movie.
Great fucking movie. Feminist masterpiece.
Really fantastic. I'm very impressed with the lead, what's her name? Maria. It sounds like baklava, but it's not. It's baklava. That's what it is. It's literally Maria Baklova.
Yeah, bakalova.
Yeah, bakalova. Anyway, she's fantastic. If you haven't seen Borat,
she's fantastic
too, and he's great in it too. And I
but like, I didn't even like Borat 1, and I loved Borat 2.
I loved both, and they were both different. Yeah, that was the thing.
Yeah, but it's all, there's a lot of women power in it, which is like, and like,
and
her storyline is that she just doesn't know. You know, like, some people just don't know. But like, you know, I don't know. I don't think anybody who's listening to this podcast is necessarily undecided. But like, if you don't know, learn more stuff.
Mm-hmm. What else, Remy?
That's it.
Okay, go vote, everybody.
But yeah, so this week's episode is with Mary Beth Barone, comedian. Amazing.
Yep, very funny comedian. Check out her stuff online.
She runs Drag His Ass, which is a fuckboy rehabilitation program. It's a show where they have fuckboys on, or former fuckboys on, to like redeem themselves.
They do that on in one night on stage?
I think so.
Man, it took me a while to not be a fuckboy.
Yeah.
I don't even like that term fuckboy. I was just like a drunk piece of shit.
Well, yeah, I was going to say.
I just like to party, and I was really just out for myself just for a period of my life. For a few years, it was just all about me, whatever I wanted to do, whenever I wanted to do it, whoever I wanted to do, whenever I wanted to do them, and wouldn't even think about anybody's feelings or anybody else but myself.
Mine.
Right, yeah, it was just all about me. I was a real fuckboy.
Yeah.
But I'm not anymore. Yeah, I mean, it takes years. I'm just surprised that somebody
could do it in
can do it in a night on stage.
I don't think like a fuckboy is like a permanent thing that you are. I think it's like a phase that people go through maybe sometimes. Like, do you?
Well, what do you consider a fuckboy to be?
Like,
is it somebody that's just banging, or is it somebody that's just like an idiot?
Someone who's banging you, who doesn't give a fuck about your feelings, but is also willing to like emotionally manipulate you to the point that you'll like fuck them again.
Whoa, I wasn't doing any of that. Not on purpose. I was just partying, man. And there was literally no games being played whatsoever.
I didn't know that.
I know. Well,
I brought this up with you the other night, but I brought it up with Mary Beth during this interview, 'cause like a number one thing a fuckboy does is like ghosting, like on a pretty regular basis.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember like one of the first nights after we banged for the first time, I had like posted on Facebook, and I was like staying in the city because it was summer and like everybody was going away for August or something. And I was like, who's staying in the city? And then you texted me and you were like, come hang out tonight. And I was like, oh my God. And I was so excited.
Yeah.
And I got a whole friend like who I hadn't seen in years just to like wingman me. And I was like, let's go down to this place. And then you never showed up. And it wasn't just never showed up. It was like, was texting me like throughout the night, being like, I'm down the street. I'm down the street. I'm coming.
Well, that just sounds pretty normal to me then. Like that's
what?
Like because like in my head, I'm sure I was just like inviting you to come by Fat Baby, not as like a date or like anything. Like I was just like, yeah, like if you're looking for something to do, like I'm most likely gonna go to the bar where I have my show and free drinks, and if I see you there, I'll see you there type of situation.
It was a weekend night. You didn't have a show.
I know, no show, but I go there because I run a show there. And that's just where I normally, like on any given weekend, would end up at Fat Baby, at least, roll in around 4 a.m. for after hours or whatever. So that was probably just like my thing. I was just like inviting everybody like to come, and it wasn't like a date like type situation.
Okay, yeah, so explain your mentality towards me for the first year that we were fucking.
Well, you were a girl that I was fucking.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. Like, we didn't really, like, date, like, we weren't, like, going out on dates or, like, doing anything romantic, right? We were just, like, it was pretty much just, like, you'd show up to Fat Baby and we'd bang. Right, for like the first year, it was very,
or like
very
show
casual.
Up at my apartment
or I'd show up at your apartment like 5 in the morning, wrecked. Yeah. I don't know why you were reading into that any deeper, because I wasn't putting anything forward.
Because we would have like the best time.
Yeah, we had
we would go back
for sure.
and have like these really good conversations and shit.
That's why.
But then he apparently wouldn't remember them. And I have a good memory, and I don't get as fucked up.
I'm showing up to your house at 5 o'clock in the morning after being literally out all night.
I know. I just don't believe it. When anybody else is like super fucked up around me and I'm just not fucked up, I'm like, no, you remember too.
No, I don't know. Yeah, for the first year, I was a complete fuckboy. I was not really.
And were you the same way to all the other girls that 100%. You were banging?
Oh, 100%.
And why do you think that was?
I would probably say it was because I'd never really like put any time like in for just me, including with my career. Like there had never been a moment where like I could do anything that I wanted to do. And make any call, stay wherever I wanted to stay. Didn't have to answer to anybody. But sober Ben in the morning, how bad does he feel? So that's really all it was. And maybe that stems from like some past relationship shit. Cause I was in a relationship with somebody for a long period of time. And then when that relationship ended, I kind of got into another relationship just as like a rebound sort of situation. Like there really wasn't any like deep feelings there or anything. Like,
yeah.
And then, and I was also performing with Josh back then.
Yep.
And so there was a lot of things, a lot of factor. And then, but yeah, around that time, it was just me. Like I was performing solo. I was, not dating anybody. I'd made a point, like, I'm not going to really get emotionally attached to anyone or even try to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty much just go with the flow, try to further my career as best as I could in that time. And, yeah,
Not care about
not
the
really
sad little Remy.
Not
just
care about
crying
anybody
on
but
birthright.
myself. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But I look at like what I was putting forth, and I'm like, how were you reading? Why were you reading?
Honestly, I mean, like to this day, or no, not to this day, but like for the first 2 years of our relationship, I was just like, you stupid bitch. Like, what are you still doing here?
But that's the whole thing. That's why it kept working, is because you're right. We had like.
Something.
We have this like clique of just like the best like hang.
But that's the other thing too. Wait, I was going to say something else besides being a good hang.
Okay.
Is I didn't realize that like you were a real person because of how shitty you were treating me.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that like you had bad past relationships that made you not want to be so emotionally available.
Yeah. And I wasn't, And you were young. You hadn't even like really dated anybody.
I had dated one person very seriously, and then I got out of that relationship. And also, this was something at that time, anybody that I was like kind of pursuing like was like down to date me too.
Right.
And I hadn't had a challenge in a really long time.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah. So that there was something kind of like.
Yeah, I mean, I was a fun guy, man. Good hang.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, super cute, not fucking fat and old like I am now.
You're beautiful.
Oh, thanks. Whenever I'm nude, Remy just tells me how beautiful I am.
Ugh, he's got such a silky little body.
Little cream boy.
Little creamy tushy.
What?
So tiny, little scoop of ice cream.
Man, you should see my big old tum.
It is a big old tum. I made a TikTok of your big old tum with Ben.
Yeah, man.
With other Ben. Ben has a friend
That's what happens
whose name is Ben, and they're identical, and they have the same body.
We have the same body, and it changes, man. Shout out Benny Bling. Yeah, man. I don't know. That's what happens when you stop being a fuckboy and you start you gain weight and you start looking like a normal boy.
Okay, but so when you ghosted me, because we bring this up later in the conversation, I texted you the next day and I was like, wow, or maybe even that night, I was like, that's never happened to me.
Yeah, and I was like, what?
And you were like, what?
Yeah, because it wasn't being stood up. You were like, I've never been stood up before. And it wasn't being stood up because I wasn't.
Who invites someone where?
Because that's just how I was. That's still how I am. I still invite tons of people where I'm going to be. Like, I'm a fun person. Right. People want to know where I am. Mm-hmm. And they're like, and I'm like, this is where I'm going to be. Come hang out. Have some free drinks. Maybe we'll bang afterward. Like.
Well, anyway, I had never had that happen to me. And I said
like, you make it sound like I was like, meet me in the middle of Union Square and wear a red rose.
Well,
and I'll have a yellow and a daffodil.
What?
And then like I don't show up. That's being stood up.
You're still sticking to that. It is cool to text somebody, come meet me, and then just never show up, and then text them every 2 hours, I'm coming.
No, that's messed up. But I guess like
I stayed in a Lower East Side bar. I don't like bars.
I get that.
I like pretended to be cool like the whole fucking 2 years to trap
you are cool.
Nah, but not that type. But you don't think that's still an acceptable behavior?
I don't know how I feel on that one. I guess like I don't think it would be I mean, no, I guess it's not acceptable.
I hope Mary Beth's shows go better than this. No, it's not acceptable behavior.
Why? But
well, because you didn't care about me.
Well, no, I just think that's not
and
what it was.
And so if you don't care about someone, you don't have to follow through on your plans.
That's not what it is. Like I don't remember. So I don't remember what the actual conversation was. I'm just saying what I think could have possibly happened. So that's what I'm saying. If I feel like I wouldn't have been like setting it up like it was a date or anything like that. I think it was just a very casual, hey, come to Vat Baby, like, you know what I mean? And
if you could redeem yourself and start this relationship the right way, how would you do it?
Well, I don't know if I would because there's something about however I was treating you that was attractive to you. Like you said, if I had liked you right away and tried to wife you up right away, you probably wouldn't have found me as attractive.
Okay, that is true because there was one night we were making out in the
cab.
And
people love fuckboys, dude.
I know.
That's why they're fuckboys. People love fuckboys.
Sucks.
Like that's the whole thing. It's some weird thing ingrained deep in people's like
self-hatred.
Yeah, where you're just like, yeah, they don't like me. They treat me bad. I like that.
It's not a good thing to do.
No, it's very. Yeah.
I think I got lucky because you are actually a nice person.
Yeah, and no, I wasn't trying to do that.
But you weren't
purpose.
trying to do it on purpose.
No, there are some people. Those people are fucking sociopaths.
Yeah,
and they're fucking fucked up in the head that do that shit on purpose, and that's real fuckboy shit. That's some real fucking not cool shit. Mine was never intentional, baby. I was just trying to have a good time and fucking be on my own for a little bit. Learn, date me for a while.
I see you, girl.
Yeah, all right. So yeah.
Anyway, and you thought I was hot the whole time.
And I thought you were hot the whole time.
And fun the whole time.
And real fun, yep. So it's just like
and whenever you'd like cast me and shit, I was like, he's in love with me.
I mean, I probably was. I just was on too much fun.
Okay, so if I would still love you and you were nice to me, how would you start the relationship over?
I don't know. I guess just like be nicer, and yeah. I don't know.
Maybe not date a full other person,
or other people in general. I guess it's not one full other person. That's one person you knew about.
I know about another person. He dated. Dated.
I
banged a lot. I was banging other people too.
Yeah, and then
But you dated a full
I dated another person for like a week. It was like not even a thing. I don't even think about it. I don't even consider it anything. Like the fact that you bring it up, it's obviously something that you're upset about, and I'm very sorry about that. I don't want you
at the time you even knew it was like. Because you came up to me and you were like, I have some bad news.
Well, I had to tell everybody that I was that I was starting to date somebody.
Yeah.
You weren't the only girl I had to do that to. Yeah. And then when me and that girl stopped seeing each other, I was literally like, dude, you know how many fucking girls I had to stop that I had to tell that I ruined fucking with?
Not me.
Well, and not you and not other people, I guess, in general also. Because, it wasn't just you. I was a fuckboy. See, you don't want to know any of this stuff.
All right.
Look,
well,
I was hot.
Stop.
I was a hot, hot buck.
I gotta go.
Buck. No.
I gotta go.
Wait, where are you going?
Out of my skin.
What? I'm just saying, back then it was just all about me, and I was sleeping around with a lot of people. So I guess I wouldn't do that. I would, if I went back in time, I wouldn't bang anybody else but Remy.
All right.
Yeah, and I think that would end up being good. I mean, I like you, but this is if you just are attracted to me, no matter what.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that's a good look. I don't think you would have found that attractive.
Right.
So yeah, I probably wouldn't bet. I probably wouldn't do as much drugs, and probably wouldn't drink as much, and I'd probably take you on more dates and cook for you more, like you said. And yeah, I don't know.
Cool.
I'm trying to think of what else I would do, like to make our relationship better. We have a really good relationship.
Yeah. Save my number in your phone instead of just Facebook messaging me for a year.
I mean, I don't have. If you look at my phone right now, I don't have some of my favorite people saved. It doesn't make any sense. Like,
that's true.
These are things that are very important to you, and yeah. And once again, was never doing anything intentionally. I just don't save people's phone numbers, and yeah.
All right, cool. Sometimes a fuckboy is they just don't care about you.
Well, no, so I said this earlier too. There's different kinds. Like, there are people that are definitely doing this and playing games and fucking with you mentally on purpose.
But these don't.
And
they genuinely just give no fucks.
Who, me?
Yes.
My kind?
Yes.
Yeah, literally. I was just trying to party and have a good time.
So whether they're mean or they're not even mean, the fact of the matter is they do not care about you.
At that moment, correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't care about anybody but myself. And it's a shitty thing, but I do think it was important for me to learn, for me to grow. Like, I needed that period of my life. And I'm sorry that you were a casualty of some of that, of having to deal with some of that, Ben. But thanks for sticking with me, because now I'm like way better.
Totally. Have you ever encountered a fuck person that hurt your feelings?
Yeah, I guess so. Sure. Like in college? Yeah, sure. Yeah, but then, like I said, like, you know, with me and like relationships, I guess like my longest girlfriend, she was a fuck person, I guess, like a sneakier one. But yeah, I don't know. When I was like dating or banging or anything like that, I kind of just tried not to get like too attached after that first relationship.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Definitely like went out, you know, and made. I kind of remember.
I think that you were a choice for me too, a subconscious choice, because I was so attached to my first relationship, and that was not a good one.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, I'm going to pick a horrible person that I cannot fall in love with. Right?
I'm a horrible person that you can't fall in love with?
What I thought of you.
That's what you thought of me? Why were you sleeping with me and thinking that I was the greatest thing ever then?
So hot. And funny. I thought we got along really well.
Yeah.
And I was right.
Yeah.
I think.
All right.
And self-hatred.
Sure. Well, you were pretty fucked up in the head when I first met you.
Yeah. What did you think of me? If you ever did.
I just thought you were like a hot, fun chick that liked smoking weed, and you were fucking hot, and you were like broken a little bit, a little crazy. You know, that's
I'm
kind
crazy, but you
for that period, fuck boy Ben period time. That was a, you know.
That's actually kind of chic.
I'm having crazy deja vu right now.
Really?
Yeah. It's nuts.
Or if they find a cure for deja vu.
If anybody is listening and has any way to watch Spice World
there is
online,
no way.
But maybe they've got some
There's
type
no
of
way.
Or they've got it stream, you know, they've got the torrent. You know, DM that to How Come, you know, so we can watch some Spice World, please.
Do you want to know what's crazy?
What?
We tried to find Spice World one night, and then literally the next night, Mary Beth tweeted some joke about how you can't find Spice World anywhere on the internet.
Yeah, I didn't know that was true.
Yeah.
But it's sad, so please send.
Please send. Oh, you want to hear something crazy too?
What's that?
We both went to the Spice World concert, or Spice Girls concert, the first one when Jerry left.
Yeah, that was my very first concert that I ever went to.
I think that was my first one that I picked.
Me and a buddy Joe went. My dad scalped tickets to Spice World, Spice concert, and it was no Ginger Spice. And
I was so upset.
Yeah, to a little prepubescent or pubescent boy, I guess.
Or girl.
Or girl. But she was the one that had her titties out, like for Playboy and stuff, and I was so excited, and she just She looks great nowadays too, by the way. She's aged beautifully. La 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 la.
We're on our way to New York tomorrow.
Rock and roll forever. Oh yeah, some socially distant, safe shows.
Yeah.
If they ain't safe, I ain't doing them.
Totally. I wouldn't even be going if I didn't have to move my stuff into storage, to be fair.
I understand.
Yeah.
You've said that.
I know. Just reiterating.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this week's episode is with Mary Beth Barone. Just because we're talking about fuckboys. I was saying this in the post-coitus the other day to Robin. Like, sometimes I feel like you guys are like a little bit of a fuckboy to me. Like, I feel like I'm like high school me being like a secret girlfriend. The fans. Like, they like love me in private and they like DM me on the low, but like nobody posts about me.
Post about her, guys, so I don't have to hear about it. Woo!
And then you should also post about me.
I do post about you.
Okay, and yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, now. Oh, okay.
I'm gassy.
Okay. Let's start the show.
How come I can't achieve? How come I can't achieve? I'm rolling up my sleeves. Oh baby, I believe these guests can help. 'Cause I can't do it by myself. I wanna just...
Hooray. You guys, I'm so excited. Please welcome our guest this week, Mary Beth Barone.
Hi.
Hi. How are you? How's New York?
New York is good. I am currently in Connecticut, but I've been into the city a few times this week, and I'm happy to report it's thriving.
Okay, amazing. You are one of the comedians who is thriving in this time.
Debatable, but thank you for saying that.
But like, yeah, I feel like there are people that are just like popping off during the pandemic, and it's like tough to celebrate while like so much bad shit is going on. But we do have a congratulations for you. Mary Beth was just named one of Vulture's comedians you should and will know in 2020.
Thank you. It was really exciting and great to be named a comedian that you should and will know in 2020. It's interesting how they do it, because 2020, if you're keeping track of the calendar, is about to end.
Right.
So I'm like, is it just, are they more forward thinking? Like, it's like we're supposed to kind of just know that in 2020, where we are right now, this is someone you should know. And like, I don't know, I guess time is a construct, so it doesn't actually matter. Maybe
yeah, it is.
Kind of the thesis.
So in that article, you were like, I would like to think I'm famous for Drag His Ass, which is a fuckboy treatment program, which we will talk about. But it's probably because of a TikTok that you made that went viral that, I'm not going to lie, stung me so hard. She like started to do one of the ones where like you cross your face and then suddenly you're made up. And it was just like, I'm not doing this. Like, I'm 28 years old.
Yeah. And now I'm 29. So I'm even more so not doing that.
Yeah.
I just won't. It was, I mean, hey, I was shocked at the response to that TikTok. I really almost didn't even put it on Instagram. I didn't even want to make it. I was just like, you have to do full makeup for that shit. So I was like, you know what? I'm just alone at my parents' house, and I'm just gonna make a stupid fucking TikTok, and I'll just put it up and show my frustration. And then, little did I know, there's tons of people in their late 20s who are equally as annoyed, also don't want to have to do it, but it's the necessary evil at this point. So I'm just trying to feel gratitude instead of being frustrated by it. But at that time, I just wanted to throw my phone out the window.
That's how I felt in like February of last year. It just sounded really dumb.
It is. Let me, as someone who is on it now a bit more, it is incredibly dumb. But
fun.
It's fun, and I get it is very like escapist in like bite-sized pieces. I get why people get addicted to it, but I actually usually will just get so frustrated on there with what I see that does well. So then I end up just closing the app and moving on with my life.
I do think Drag His Ass is a reason why you've gotten a lot of acclaim.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
For those who are not familiar, Drag His Ass is a fuckboy treatment program. How did that get started?
That got started because I have been single for several years now, and I just kind of decided I was not being kind to myself. I had acknowledged that I wanted to stop sleeping with fuckboys and stop giving them power. And then, as I've said time and time again, acknowledging you want to change something and actually changing it, there's a huge gap in between those two things. So
Yeah.
I decided I needed to hold myself accountable, and I started keeping track of how long I was going fuckboy free. I wanted to get to 100 days. And
Amazing.
when I posted about that on social media, it seemed like people could really relate to that. So decided to do a live show. And the first one was so much fun that I moved it to a bigger venue and added a segment called the Fuckboy Redemption, which is where I attempt to redeem a real life fuckboy. And that has always been very rewarding. And in the midst of all that, I started an Instagram. It's like a meme account where we just drag boys and sometimes girls. And, you know, I do grapple with that at times because I'm like, do we really need more meme accounts? But I think when girls DM me saying that, you know, the account makes them laugh and makes them feel less alone, I'm like, all right, just give people what they want.
It's also nice to see like people that you look up to. Like, I think a lot of your fans view you as very aspirational. And so like when they see that,
insane.
like, isn't that insane? I know. But like when they see that, like, oh yeah, other girls who I look up to, like, let themselves get treated like shit too.
That was the original pandemic.
Yeah, literally.
So.
Robin's going through it right now. She's single and just dating every different type of fuckboy. I feel like my relationship has been a 4-year fuckboy redemption, like treatment program. Ben is doing great. He is in recovery.
You're doing God's work
for myself or the next girl who gets to benefit. But how do we define a fuckboy? Because I feel like from when it started, it's definitely made an evolution.
Yeah, fuckboys are, I've always said fuckboys can look like anything. So there's definitely obvious red flags, but you know, you can definitely fall into their trap if they're like a wolf in sheep's clothing. So I think of fuckboys as like, they wear big watches, they vape everywhere, they wear joggers, they love to slide into DMs, maybe they like in finance. That's kind of a common theme I've found. They just will kind of say and do anything to get people to sleep with them. And then after that, they don't really hold themselves accountable. So it definitely, women are fuckboys. I've done 2 redemptions on women. I think if you're in the lesbian community, a big tip off would be if they're wearing a fedora or lots of bracelets. That's what I've always said. So there are things to look out for, but there's definitely people who dress like that and present themselves as fuckboys who aren't, which that's just what I've heard. I've never come across one personally, but there are things you can do to look out for it. And then there's people that will straight up just lie to your face or, you know, change their minds or whatever. And then you're kind of left to pick up the pieces. So it's a weird cycle. We've all kind of, it's like a social contract. We all just like agreed that this is fine. And I don't think it's fine.
Well, I think it's also, and I don't know who created this, but somewhere in society we decided that the most hard to get boy was like the best boy. You know what I mean? Like somebody who like doesn't want a girlfriend was like, I want that. Like, I love a challenge. And then like just showing everybody else, like, look what I did. Look who I like balled and chained.
Yeah, it's so toxic. I mean, also like, I've been of the mind that I'm not actually, if I'm dating someone or I want to date them, I'm not out to change them. So I've gone into situations with fuckboys knowing full well that like, you can't change people. They have to want to change.
Yeah.
So even knowing what I know, I've still like ignored all the red flags and just like plowed ahead.
Totally.
And that's something that you actively have to work towards not doing because it's just so easy to fall into it. And then once they hurt you, you're kind of like, well, they've already hurt me this much, so I might as well just keep having sex with them because what else could they do? But they always find ways to make it worse.
And there's something too that like I say we, but like a lot of women don't want to up their numbers because of what society's been like. You don't want to, you know, add another notch to your belt. So it's like, I already fucked him. I might as well just like keep doing this.
It's so dumb. But I did that so many times. I was just like, well, you know, I've already kind of been there. I know what I'm getting into, but it's just not, it's not a healthy way of, well, if it's working for you and you're happy, I say keep doing it.
Great. Yeah. But
it
most
wasn't
of the
working
time,
for me.
If you leave the person, just like kind of check in with yourself and be like, am I happier than when I came into this? Like, or do I feel like a little bit off about myself?
Yeah, and that's something that you have to be honest with yourself. And I think that's hard too, because people hear what they want to hear and they'll tell themselves, they'll just lie to themselves. And something I've been trying to encourage more of recently, which is really hard to do, is like, you don't have to wait for them to end things. If you're not
Yeah.
happy, you don't have to just stick around because it's convenient or it seems easy or you want to get like, have
Or
sex.
you don't
It's
want to be
like,
the bad guy.
yeah, but it's such a strange thing we do. We just kind of wait for them to get sick of it. Like I've had situations where I've had bad sex with someone and still like didn't even really like their personality, but then pursued
Mm-hmm.
it and then was hurt when they didn't want to hang out with me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, why didn't I just not do that? Like, why didn't I just tell them that I didn't enjoy their company? Very
Yeah, I don't
strange.
know. It's like it's a little bit of a masochism, but also like getting accustomed to getting hurt.
Yeah.
And like I'm learning a lot about attachment styles right now, and I
It's the
like
hot ticket item of the
yeah.
day. I just read
Um
that book. I skimmed the book Attached. I read a few different sections of it, and it's all very interesting.
I haven't read anything. I've been getting all of my information from TikTok.
Okay, well, I would love to compare notes because I'm wondering if it's the same.
Apparently
But
how your parents treat you, that attachment is how the things that you seek out in partners. So if like a parent is very withholding or something, like you'll pick a withholding person.
yeah, and then there's definitely like you learn behaviors and all that stuff as an early adult as well. So and you have your whole inner child you have to be thoughtful of.
Yeah.
So it's all just, being a human. I mean, it's just like, when will it end,
Never. Well, no, apparently there's a point.
Well, I'm not ready. I don't want to say I'm ready, but I think maybe it gets easier as you get older because you just stop caring. I'm not sure.
Mm-mm. We said earlier in this season, life doesn't get easier, you just get better at it.
Okay. I think that sounds right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty good. So I mean, it sounds to me like the fuckboy redemption program really is an accountability program for the people who date fuckboys.
So the way it works is that the redemption is for the fuckboys. So that is where
Mm-hmm.
we unpack their history, talk about their
Mm-hmm.
dating habits, and see why they are the way that they are. And then I try to get them to pledge to be better.
Mm-hmm.
So then the 6-step recovery program, that's for fuckboy addiction.
Ah.
So that is where we get into what you can do to like try to combat it.
But there are 6 steps in the treatment plan. Can we go through the
Yes.
steps to treating a fuckboy?
So the 6 steps that I have laid out. So step 1 is to admit that you have a problem, obviously, classic.
Yes.
Step 2 is to start demanding better,
Mm-hmm.
because that's where it all begins. Step 3 is to relapse. So I built relapsing into the program because it's going to happen and you just shouldn't be too hard on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It is inevitable. I've done it multiple times, some worse
Totally.
than others, but it is like almost a guarantee. 4 is to come back stronger. You hit rock bottom. The only way you can go is up.
Glow
And
up.
then
Mm-hmm.
step 5 is to feel gratitude. So I kind of got to a place where I realized that I was so happy all those fuckboys screwed me over, because if they hadn't, then I would be dating a fuckboy.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to do that. That sounds like hell to me. And I would have stayed because that's just what women do. I mean,
Yeah.
I know gender is also a construct, but like, I'm just speaking from factual experience.
Well,
And
we've been taught
then-
about who we are.
Yeah, I think,
Yeah.
and if you fall outside of that, I'm so happy for you, and you should write a book.
Yeah.
Please, I'll read it. And then step 6 is to seek revenge. So
Amazing.
that's because we need a little something for ourselves as well.
Mm-hmm. What has been your best revenge?
Probably starting the show.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's the best.
that was great, and that has felt great, and it continues to feel great. So
Mm-hmm. Have you ever, I know you wrote letters to your ex-boyfriends, and I don't know if I would
Yes.
lump them in the same category as fuckboys, but have you ever written like an exit interview?
I haven't written an exit interview. I think there are certain people in my past that I would love to sit down with and just ask them questions about like what their motivation was to make certain choices. But I think closure is fake. I think closure is not real. Like,
Mm.
you won't get like that won't bring me joy, and I don't think it will change their minds on what they did.
Right.
They'll maybe take time to reflect on their actions, but maybe they probably won't. So I think it's just like, maybe at this point, if I really wanted answers from someone, I would like text them and just ask if they were willing to chat. But those are parts of my past that I think I would just rather like take what I want to take from them and then move on.
So I wrote an exit interview, and it wasn't asking them about me. Okay. It was just kind of telling them about them.
I love that.
Because this was my first boyfriend. I've only had 2. But I like really wanted him to know what he had done wrong and why I wouldn't likely be coming back unless they were fixed.
Yeah.
And B, I didn't want him to go off and do this same thing to like another girl, because I know all the girls he's dated before. He has excellent taste in women, and I know that he's going to like fucking ruin someone again.
Yeah.
You know, so that kind of exit interview.
I think providing feedback is a very powerful tool. And if people want to act on that, that's ultimately up to them. But I think that's a good way of approaching it, because like it is them. Like when I look back on the people that have screwed me over, hurt me, it's like, I don't really think it's anything I was doing. I think they have things they need to work through. And I'm just not going to be part of that process for those people.
Totally. We did make a nice little list of types of fuckboys.
Okay, I love that.
There is the hipster / soft boy. He's usually sitting at a corner table at a coffee shop. Looks intellectual.
What's he working on? We don't know.
We don't know. Yeah, he wants to talk about your opinion on some abstract theory or something. There is the daddy's boy. Yeah, if you're in New York, you know these guys. This one says big watch, just like you.
Okay. Yep.
Okay.
Textbook stuff.
A lot of Ralph Lauren and Vineyard Vines. Goes to school in Boston.
Absolutely.
Then there is the classic, which is denoted by the term "I'm not a fuckboy," he says, while texting 3 girls at the same time, probably snapping shirtless post-workout selfies.
Because if they tell you, like, I find that if they tell you up front that they're like assholes or like, I'm not a good guy or whatever, they think that like relinquishes them of all responsibility. And so they can be like, I'm not a fuckboy. I was honest with you from the beginning.
Yeah.
And that is just like, you're a coward. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And then the next 2 are the partier and the social media guy, which like, I don't need to tell you how to spot those. Like, you know, those people.
We probably each follow a couple of them. Friends on a friend level.
But so how many days fuckboy free are you? I know pandemic times it's different. But
how many days since? I remember the exact day I last had a flub. January 7th. 290 days.
Wow, that's huge.
So I'm feeling good about that number.
And that doesn't mean that's the last time you had sex.
No, that means that was the last time that I went back to someone who I knew was bad and did it anyway. I didn't even feel like that bad about it after. I just was like, I need to hold myself accountable that was a relapse and move forward.
Yeah. I used to think relapses were like a palate cleanser. Do you know what I was just like, oh, it's fine. Like this just erases everyone in between the last time. And it's like, only use somebody as a palate cleanser if they're really good at sex.
Yeah, I think I have a joke about this, but millennials we're so empowered. We can justify literally anything. So it's like, yeah, if I sleep with a fuckboy after I relapse, it's a palate cleanser, like whatever. Yeah. But no, I'm just sleeping with another fuckboy. That's the reality of it.
Hilarious. And we said that a fuck boy can be a fuck person, any gender. You famously recently came out within the last
year and a half. Yeah.
How has that been for you?
It's good. You know, I think meeting a woman who I had romantic feelings for really shed a lot of light on things that have happened in my childhood and in adolescence that definitely pointed towards this outcome. I think once you have a little bit more perspective, you can look back and say, why was that scene in Aladdin? Why did it give me a pulse in my vagina? Or why was I so obsessed with that Megan Fox GQ shoot? You know, it's like things where you maybe thought like you just admired the person, but really you were just horny.
Yeah.
That is something that's very eye-opening and has definitely changed the way I view certain pieces of media. But I think it's been great for me just to kind of realize that and feel like that's part of my identity. And I'm happy that, you know, even at 28, I was like, I mean, I didn't really go through a lot of the self-hating or like, you know, it didn't cause drama in my family. Nice. It just was kind of like, this is just something about me and it is what it is. So I think that I'm very fortunate, very privileged to be able to say that.
Totally. Yeah, no, I, as a late in life coming outer, appreciate this as well, because I think you were one of the first comics that I saw come out as bi, and I was like, oh yeah, okay, now I can really see it for myself.
Yeah.
Because
definitely.
To me, there was like really nobody very similar. And I was like, oh, Mary Beth and I are, yeah, we're very similar. And like, if she can be brave enough to like admit this about herself. And I also think, like you were saying, like those scenes, like why do they bring up certain feelings in you? I always was wondering, like, why do I seem to obsessively hate girls or whatever? And then you realize later that that's attraction.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's interesting how those things manifest as a kid when you're not really sure what to do with those feelings. But then when you have that kind of moment where you come to terms with just what is really going on, it's a very nice feeling of relief, I think, at least for me, because I didn't really deal with like any like discrimination or, you know, going through difficult, like grappling with who I am. It was just kind of like, oh, I like a woman and I'm going to date her.
Yeah. Do you think that's because you have like a lot of queer friends around you to begin with?
Yeah, I definitely felt very supported, and like I knew that none of my friends were gonna not accept me because a lot of them are gays, so that would be a little strange. But I also can definitely understand where maybe people would be a little frustrated just because if they had, you know, a difficult journey toward their sexuality, it's like,
yeah,
I make it look easy or something. But I think I get that and I accept that, and that's okay.
It's the Caitlyn Jenner effect. It's like you're having too easy of a time.
Yeah.
Which is like, I think you still see other people's struggles, which she like didn't.
She famously doesn't. Yeah.
Famously does not. Yeah. No, I think it's interesting because you also kind of like went the same or grew up the same way, like prep school, you know what I mean? Like kind of conservative.
Yeah.
Like liberal, but conservative.
I wasn't even liberal. I was Republican for a long time, and I went to Catholic school for 10 years. And then when I started going to public school, my eyes were opening a little bit to what really goes on in the world, but I was ignorant to a lot of things up until my early 20s. And I'm very thankful, like, you know, I'm on the right side of history now, but there's a lot to reflect on, like my beliefs and thoughts in those years. And it's just like, I mean, it's a totally different person. Obviously, if I was the same person I was when I was 14, that would be pretty weird. So I'm thankful for the character development.
Same. Yeah, no, I don't know if I've ever admitted this to you guys, but I fucking voted for Mitt Romney. You know, like, yeah.
I didn't vote that year because that was in my time of political apathy. I would have voted for McCain though if I could. I couldn't vote that year, but I absolutely would have.
So I didn't vote McCain Obama because I couldn't decide, because I was like, I know I like Obama, but taxes.
I was so worried about taxes when I was 14.
Like, you have no money.
Yeah. Well, I was working at Alice and Olivia making $12 an hour. And I was like, I'm sick of these taxes.
Yeah, I was like working at a tennis place at the desk or whatever. $14.50 an hour. I was like,
you're like, these taxes,
these socialists.
You're like, the government is robbing me.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, I think that's like a lot of stuff that people don't generally talk about, is like the shit that you have to think back upon as like wrong thoughts before.
Yeah.
Which I think is really admirable. Like, it shows growth.
Yeah, and it's a step towards like being self-actualized. That is a difficult step, but you have to kind of uncover a lot of like misplaced beliefs and also trauma to get to that point. So it's like you just have to do the work, and I think that's what a lot of fuckboys specifically aren't willing to do. Even when they get to their mid 30s and they're like, you know, they want a girlfriend, they want to settle down, but at that point they've cycled through so many people. They're a lot of times I find that they're like waiting to be swept off their feet by like the perfect woman. And you know, you can't bank on that. And also, if you're not willing to put in any work on yourself, like why would the perfect woman want to date you?
They wouldn't.
So
Yeah.
they need to maybe reflect a bit.
I saw a great meme the other day, and I think it could be related to parents and relationship people, but it was like people go to therapy because of other people who refuse to go to therapy.
100%. That's so fucking funny.
Right? And it's like, just go to fucking therapy. Like,
it's expensive, but it's worth it.
Yeah, just once to like kind of dig in and like start doing the work, just so that.
But the first session is what scares people, because they'll cry and then they're like, actually, I'm going to keep that box closed. And that's kind of, yeah, I think a lot of people do. And they're afraid of their emotions. That's what I find.
Oh, see, my first therapy with a new therapist is always like, how do I get them to like be obsessed with me? I'm going to tell them the best stories. They're going to laugh.
That is bad.
And they're going to love me.
I've only had one, and she's amazing. And I'm convinced I'm one of her favorite clients, but it's because I'm like always realizing things in between sessions. And then I come to her and I'm like, this is what I decided I feel. And she's like, I'm proud of you.
Yeah, no, I always want to impress my therapist. And sometimes like I just won't go because I'm like, I don't want her to know I'm not doing well. Don't do that, you guys. Don't be like me.
Hey, like I said, you have recognized the behavior and now you can work towards changing it.
I'm like the most self-aware, not gonna fucking budge person.
I think that's called being stubborn, but I'm not sure.
Stubborn. Oh, I'm sure a lot of our listeners are wondering, what is your sign?
Gemini.
Awesome. Okay.
And I relate to my sign a lot. I think there's a lot of like contradictions in my person, in my being, and grappling with those every day. It's like, it's a struggle, but I love being a Gemini. We are the most hated sign on the internet. And I think that it's just because people don't take the time to get to know us.
I love Geminis. I like famously surround myself with them to make myself seem
okay,
like the stable
that's a
one.
Toxic environment, but okay, that's a good strategy.
Yeah, it's a very toxic environment. Speaking of, just back to fuckboys for a sec. What is the emotional / mental impact of repeatedly being ghosted, and how can you cope with that?
That is a great question. I think once you've been ghosted, I remember the first time I got ghosted and it was like so heartbreaking to me. But I think what's worse, so I think initially when you get ghosted a few times, it's just shocking and unbelievable, especially when you've like kind of laid your cards on the table and then they still choose to ghost you. It's like, it's a slap in the face. It's very insulting. Totally. I think it's like very damaging to a person's ego and self-esteem. And then what's worse is when you get used to it and you don't feel anything. And that's, I think, where you have to maybe take a step back and say, like, what am I not feeling? Because you'll just become numb to it and then you won't really work through anything. I think it's just like, and then you won't demand better because you're like, well, this is just what everyone does. Yeah. And it's not normal. It's behavior that should be called out, and it should be, people should be held responsible. I think it's just one of the worst things people go through with dating right now.
Yeah, it's super mean. And I think there's a lot of like really mean behavior that's normalized for the people who just like want to do that over and over again without like being seen as a dick. And like, it's so like I have ghosted a person. I have one person and I still feel bad about it.
Was it someone you slept with or just someone you went on dates with?
No, it was somebody I slept with, and like he also like fast tracked me. Like he introduced me to his friends. That's kind of what like scared me off, as I was like, oh, I'm not here yet. And I didn't want to say something so hurtful that's like, ugh, I'm just not feeling it with you. And so I just let him text me for a few weeks until he finally said, well, this has been embarrassing. And then that broke my heart.
Look, nobody is without flaws, right? We've all made mistakes, and we've had situations that we felt like we couldn't get out of in a graceful way. So maybe we did it in a not graceful and hurtful way. I think it's you having guilt about that means that you're a good person. And if you experience that and then next time you handle things differently, like nobody is expected to get it right 100% of the time.
Totally. Yeah, no, and I think the guilt it's a good indicator, and like just like, so you guys, if you're thinking of ghosting someone, like there's really easy, short, nice ways to do it that are I'll put them in like an Instagram FAQ or something.
Yeah, you can say, it was great meeting you. I think you're wonderful. I don't think we should pursue this romantically, but I don't know. There's just ways of doing it that are
leaves
very
it open
final,
a friendship.
which like is such, I guess definitely be clear if you don't want to be friends. But I think once you've said that, if you've made your case, then what they do after that is kind of up to them if they continue to try to pursue it. But getting out of it clean like that, I think is a great option, even though it is scary and it sucks to hurt someone's feelings, but it's better than leaving them in the dark.
Yeah. And hurt people. So like you not hurting somebody makes it good for the next person. It's like the campfire rule.
Yeah.
What have you learned about what a healthy relationship looks like for you?
I think the basis of any healthy relationship is communication. And I was doing an advice column for Paper Magazine in May, and I want to tell you that 90% of the issues could have been solved if the person writing me just said it to
the other person
instead of saying it to me.
Yeah.
Because people are so afraid to just be straightforward and talk about how they're feeling and talk about what's bothering them with the only person that can actually help them.
That's how famous tweets are made. It's literally, you could have just texted this to your friend, but now you're viral.
Exactly. And I think if you want to go viral, good for you. Great.
Huge.
If that's making you happy. But if you want to improve your relationship, you can't be afraid to communicate. And it's scary. It's hard. It's vulnerable. You sometimes have to let those emotions show, but it's a non-negotiable for me at this point.
And we kind of brought up the letters before. You wrote a bunch of letters to your exes, and you guys can all find those on Mary Beth's website.
Yes.
What was that exercise like for you? And like, why did you do it?
I decided I was going to write letters to my exes and read them as ASMR. That was the original plan for that. So I was like, I'm going to write these out. They're going to be funny. And then I'm going to read them whispering and put it on YouTube, because I've done a few ASMR videos and they've been fun and stupid and silly. And then I sat down to write them and I just started crying. And I was like, okay, maybe these are not for comedic purposes, but it still felt important to write them. I didn't really realize how much it would like impact me revisiting those things. And what made me the most sad was actually writing about the ones that were good, because I just wish that, like I said in the letter to my, high school boyfriend, like I wish that I internalized more of that as opposed to when I was treated badly.
Poorly. Yeah.
But then I was like, this is super personal and maybe I won't post it. But eventually I just thought like, why start keeping things close to the chest now? Like people know so many things about me if they've looked, and my comedy's always been very honest. So I just thought, why not post it and see what people's reaction is? And I got a lot of really nice messages from people who read it and enjoyed it and related to it and felt like maybe they would want to do the same, just like, for themselves. Yeah. But I found I did get a lot of value from that, because my relationships have been so different than people I've just hooked up with over like, a sustained period of time. So I just wanted to kind of think about who I was in those early relationships when I was so much younger and acknowledge that I'm much more of myself now and I'm happy.
That's so good. Yeah, there was one letter that, well, first of all, I went on like an emotional roller coaster reading them, because I went through like jealousy that like you had one so early, to like empathy, to like sympathy, to like, okay, all girls, all people kind of go through the same things, whether it's in one relationship or 4 or like 15 or whatever. It's like you're going to get treated so many different ways by a bunch of different people. And then what you choose to internalize, like what you were saying, is like so important. Like, I know so many boys who have treated me nicely in my life, but then why only grab on to the memories of the bad ones? And like,
it's so strange that we do that, but we do.
Mm-hmm. And then there was a line that you were like, if I hadn't gained confidence during our relationship, like, I don't think I would have become the person I am today, which is like so nice after any type of relationship. Like, it could be a bad relationship that you had to like pull yourself out of to like gain that confidence, or it could be like this person bolstered you so much. Actually, okay, so this one ex, he said to me in a fight, like one of our breakup fights, because he was one of those ones who like wouldn't let you break up. He was like, I knew that someday I would get you to the place that you would be confident enough to leave me.
Yeah.
Like, that's gross.
But it's true. Like, it is sometimes in that relationship specifically. That was when I started doing comedy, like at the tail end of it. And I would have never gone to an open mic if I didn't know that I had someone waiting for me at home who was gonna love me anyway, like even if it went terribly. And I didn't even tell him when I went to an open mic. I just did it, and then I loved it, and I thought, oh shit, like this is something I really want to do. But I, signed up for improv because he and I were kind of doing the same thing every day, and I wanted a hobby. That was really.
Did you do stand up or improv first?
I did improv first.
Same. Okay.
And
where
then
did you
I
do
started
improv?
doing at UCB, of course.
Amazing.
The Upright Citizens Brigade, proud alumni.
Same.
But yeah, I mean, I can acknowledge that was a good relationship too. Like, as much as I was 22 when it started and didn't really have like a set of priorities that were my own, I learned so much about myself in that relationship, and it led me to what I'm doing now. So I'm so grateful for it. And I think like he's a wonderful boyfriend, and he's engaged to someone now, and I'm happy for them, genuinely. I see that, and I think like you found the person that you were meant to be with, and I was meant to be with comedy. So we both had a happy ending.
I think that's a very common trope too, that like I'm glad is kind of being done away with, is that like you have to hate all of your exes. It's nice to be happy for other people. It's nice to move on.
It's nice to like their photos on Instagram. Like,
and not feel weird about it, and not feel like it's like a weird jab at like, I remember you.
Yeah, it's just like, no, I'm just like genuinely like, I think I'm happy that you're happy.
So when you came out, was it because you were just attracted to this one person and you guys had a relationship, and that was your kind of awakening?
That was my foray into dating women. And it wasn't even a super long thing, but it was really helpful and good, and gave me the assurance that like this was something I wanted to open myself up to. And then I'm not really like, even in the last, before pandemic, like I wasn't really out like looking to date. I went on, I think I had Hinge a little bit like that summer when I met her, but I guess like I don't really know what the scene is like because I'm not really on the scene.
Sure. Yeah. I think we have a lot of people who have written in and never hooked up with a girl before who want to, and like they're not nervous about a relationship with a girl. They're nervous about like sexual contact.
Just get someone you're comfortable with and be honest with them, and then it's like you'll be fine. You might not like it, you might hate it, but you will. And also you don't want the person to feel like they're like a guinea pig. Like make sure that they understand what they're doing, what they're signing up for. But I think it's really fun to hook up with girls.
Totally.
It's so fun.
There's no threat. There's nothing that can like poke you, or that you're worried if it's going to die. Like,
and you don't have to, there's a lot of fears with guys that are just not present. And I think that is really nice. And also women are soft and they're pretty and they have boobs, and it's just fun for the whole family. So, and
they like kissing as much as you like kissing.
Yeah.
So,
and they don't have stubble, which is nice.
I do.
I should not all women, babe.
Have you always been comfortable with sex and sexuality?
No way.
Okay.
I was Catholic for so long, and
Okay.
for 20 years, I thought I was waiting till marriage to have sex. Like
Mm-hmm.
that was my plan.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
then I changed my mind because I had a boyfriend that I wanted to have sex with, and I thought I was going to marry him. So I was like, of course, this just makes sense. Just one thing will lead into another.
Mm-hmm.
But then I didn't marry him. And then I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll be prude for a while. And that entailed like, I wouldn't have like penetrative sex with people, but I would like do quote unquote famous other stuff,
Yeah.
which was, was fun and a good time as well. But then it wasn't till I broke up with my last boyfriend that I really was like, okay, I'm going to have a few years of like sexual freedom and just do
Mm-hmm.
what I want and try to shed a lot of the shame that was presented to me around sexuality as a kid that was very formative. And I feel good about where I am with all that stuff. I definitely boosted my numbers and felt like I was very fulfilled. And then it was, it was fun for a long time. And then when it wasn't fun anymore, that's when I had to kind of reevaluate things. But I
Yeah.
think sex is great when it's great, and people should have it all the time if you have the
All the
option.
time. Do you remember your first orgasm?
I do.
When was that?
So I was one of those girls that just said, I just can't come. It's just not something
Mm-hmm.
I'm capable of doing. And I had reached peace with that decision. But then I was hosting a show, and the theme was secrets. I was hosting a live stand-up show, and
Mm-hmm.
my co-host and I were thinking about secrets to tell. And I was going to tell the secret that I've never had an orgasm. And
Oh
he
my
was like,
God.
that is crazy. You're 20. I was either 27 or 28, but he was
Oh
like,
my God. You're
yeah, this
just
was
like
recently.
me.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, you're right. This is ridiculous. I need to just put in the time. And I had a little vibrator my friend had bought me for Christmas years earlier, but I never really like actually sat down and said like, okay, I'm gonna put porn on
Whoa.
and try to come. And then I remember when I did come, and it was really amazing.
Unreal. Oh my God. See,
Yeah.
you guys, you can have so many boyfriends who love you and do all the right other stuff and have shower sex with you. Very jealous of that. And no coming. Like, it's really about just like you said, like not being resigned to being like, well, this is just me.
Yeah, and it is a dangerous narrative, I think, to just say like, well, like I like sex when I don't come too. I think
Mm-hmm.
it depends who it's with, obviously, but I have fun having sex because sex is fun when it's with someone I like. And I, lied to a lot of people about if they did or didn't make me come because I
Mm.
thought I was protecting them, and I didn't want to kind of like own up to the feeling that maybe just wasn't going to happen for me.
Yeah.
But you just need to be willing to like commit to it. And then also like I have a joke about guys not making me come, but if you think about it, like it's like if a professional tennis player was playing against a toddler. Like
Mm-hmm.
obviously guys can come easily because they've been doing it for 20 years, like, or 15 years. I've been doing it for 2 years. So if a guy can't make me come, we're in the same boat, because like it wasn't happening for me for so long too.
Right, right. Yeah, no,
And
that's what
that's
I
not their
always
fault.
if anybody is trying to tell their boyfriend that they've not come yet, it's like, yeah, explain that you just haven't been practicing by yourself. If you can't make you come, nobody else is going to do it. But I do think
I'm sure there's girls out there that come from having a penis inside them, and I think that's wonderful. I am
8
genuinely
to
thrilled for them.
25% of people. That's
Yeah, so
it.
you're God's favorites. Good
Yeah.
job.
Good job.
Again, I wish you nothing but a happy life.
Mhm.
But if you're not, then that's also fine.
Yeah, it's better than fine. It's great.
It's
You're
great. It's wonderful.
great.
Hey, I'm talking about myself here, so I think
Yeah.
I
We're
think it's
great.
we're
I'm
great.
proud of us.
Me too.
Are you dating any fuckboys right now, Rob? Are you okay?
No, I think I've kind of just freed that sort of situation from my life, which is kind of nice.
That's fantastic.
Can we talk about the cop?
Yeah, but can
Okay, great. You're a good
Okay.
sport, Rob. Okay, so Rob was seeing a cop. And Mary Beth, you have a merch line, Thoughts Against Cops, and also Cunts Against Cops.
Yes. I started the merch line because obviously everything with George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Black Lives Matter was coming to a head over the summer. And I think it was such an important conversation. And as a white person, I was always hesitant to join the conversation because I just felt like I didn't want it to seem performative, and I didn't want it to seem like I was speaking from a place of privilege and, you know, taking up space that was better served having Black people and the people affected by these issues speak for themselves.
Yeah.
So over the summer, I actually tweeted something about cops being stupid, and it went super viral, and I got some emails to my website that were not so nice and some replies that were not so nice. And I went on my Instagram story and I was like, I said, welcome to all my new followers, something about like, if you want to call me a cunt, like you can slide into my DMs or whatever. I don't even remember what the wording was, but then someone DM'd me and was like, can we get cunts against cops t-shirts, like jokingly.
Amazing.
And I was like, oh my God, like, yes, I have a merch vendor already because I had launched some other merch. And my friend Jake, who runs up my shop, was like, he's the graphic designer as well for all my merch. So he was like so on it. And I decided to make a thoughts against cops option just in case people didn't want the word
don't want to wear cunt
on their shirt, which is totally understandable. So I decided to do that and donate 100% of the profits to, at first it was Black Lives Matter, but then my sister found an organization that was more like grassroots called Critical Resistance. So it's been really, I just wanted to do something helpful that wasn't taking away from or taking up space that like wasn't for me to take up. So this felt like a way to like mobilize my base, because people really do want to help. And the best thing I think white people can do to help, or at least one of the best things, is by spending money. So it felt like a win-win.
Yeah, totally. And if you have a cop in your family and they are a nice cop, like, that's great. But if they are a nice cop, they usually can see the issues with systematic racism that are going on within their organization. And a lot of nice, good cops have spoken out about the injustices. Some people have quit. But ultimately, like, the goal is to defund the police, not be like kill all of them or whatever.
We don't want to send them to the gallows. We just, they are a military force acting in our communities and killing people without consequences. So I think everyone should be mad about that, cops as well, because the bad ones make everyone look bad.
If there were comics just going out and murdering people, I wouldn't be like, hey, don't talk shit on comics.
I know.
Those comics need to be arrested.
Yeah.
And held accountable.
The blind support, I think, is an issue. And I feel bad. Like, I definitely would struggle if my dad was a cop or something, but I think I would simply make him quit.
Yeah. Or if you've ever been just like helped by a cop or whatever, and you're like, I know that cops can be really nice. Yeah, they can be really nice. And defunding doesn't mean that they won't get paid anymore. The good ones will still get paid. We just want the bad ones to, be held accountable, and also maybe not dump millions and billions of dollars into actual militarization programs.
Right.
Like, you can have people getting paid and keeping neighborhoods safe without giving them like massive weapons.
Yeah, I don't think someone who pulls me over for speeding needs to have like a automatic assault weapon.
Yeah,
that's just my personal belief.
It's my personal belief as well. And if it's not yours, then you can always write to us. And if it is yours, go buy a Cunts Against Cops or Thoughts Against Cops shirt. Hats? Do you have hats?
We don't have hats. It's just shirts for now. But I want to make
great.
My sister said I should make baby onesies that say "Tots Against Cops."
Yes.
So I think that might be the next product added to the line.
That's amazing. Mary Beth Barone, it has been so lovely having you here on How Come.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Of course. Can you tell everybody where they can find you and everything you're working on the internet?
Yes, you can find me at Mary Beth Barone on social media. I have a YouTube channel. If you search my name on there, you'll find it. And you can follow Drag His Ass on Instagram as well.
You can follow us at How Come Podcast. Follow me at Remy Casimir. Also, thank you so much, you guys. You've been doing such good rating and reviewing, and it literally makes us come every single time.
Love
like, just such nice things. Even when you get my name wrong or you just call me the host. I just love it. I love all of the things. If you want extras, you can see Mary Beth's full unedited video on patreon.com/howcome.
Oh God, this is video?
You look great.
Honey, I'm not wearing a lick of makeup.
Well, I look like shit and so does Robin.
Okay, well, I hope the Patreon subscribers enjoy this.
Yeah, Patreon, you'll love it. She's gorge.
God.
I have to ask this to all of our guests after a sexual experience, which this has been. Mary Beth, did you finish?
I finished.
Okay, amazing. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Okay, and we'll see you next time on How Come. Goodbye.
Bye. Robin, say bye.
Robin, say goodbye.
See ya.
Bye.
It's not you, it's me. I try so hard to finish honestly. They say you'll know when you go all the way from A right down to O. Oh no, I think that I still got a ways to go. Oh, I'm sick of this and I have got to know. How come? How come? How come I can't achieve? How come I can't achieve? I'm rolling up my sleeves. I'm rolling up my sleeves. Oh baby, I believe these guests can help. 'Cause I can't do it by myself. I wanna
just want to read some of your reviews because, oh my God, I literally never believed my mom when she was like, if you don't ask, you don't get, about anything. And I feel like I just don't ask you guys enough for the things I want, which are like rating, reviewing, sharing us on Instagram and stuff. But I did last week, and a lot of you sent really, 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 really nice messages. Did really, really, really nice ratings, and we're almost to 1,800 now. We're just 10 away from 1,800, which is like, it's still not huge, but it's like, it means a lot to me. So 10 more of you while I'm reading these, if you guys could go into your app, search How Come. No, it doesn't come up until you type the whole word and hit refresh because we are shadow banned on everything. Scroll down to the bottom, give us 5 stars, maybe pause, maybe write something nice. Do you guys hear that running around? That is BB. That's the cat here. Grace stayed in Portland with Ray and Jane. Cute. Okay, wait. So here are some of these reviews because they are just so nice. Okay, this one I really liked. It's from Ari Safari. Amazing podcast. As a previous sex educator, I absolutely love this podcast. It's so nice to hear so many people stopping misinformation. Hell yeah. On a side note, I recently had a 7-hour car ride alone to dear family member's funeral, and listening to the podcast on the way was the only thing that brought me a smile and calmed my nerves. Thank you. Thank you. And you're so welcome. I'm so happy. Okay. What else? Another one. Hi, Ben. This is from Abs Cadabs. If everyone listened to this podcast, I don't know what the rest of the title is, but I bet it's nice because this is the body of it. My favorite podcast. Remy is an incredible host and brings on really interesting guests with perspectives on sex from all walks of life. It's so funny and sexy, but also informative, but like not in a nerdy way. My boyfriend listens sometimes too, and we've had lots of interesting discussions based on the show. Thank you, Remy, for normalizing talking about such important and fun stuff. Heart, heart, heart. Yay! One more, and then I'm going to get this started because I know the Mary Beth stands are like, we don't care about you. Same, guys. But also welcome to How Come. Okay, final thing. This one is from YSA, and the title is Thanks, Rem, Udabomb.com. Remy is the best. She's normalizing orgasms and sex and gender identity, and because of this podcast, I've completely changed my college major to studying sex. What? But you've also helped me gain comfort in who I am and made me realize how important it is to understand myself both physically and also mentally. Also, orgasms, hello. I could gush about Remy and her amazing team and guests forever. Thank you. Okay, and then there was one more. I don't know where it is now because you guys did a lot of really good ones this week, and I'm like overwhelmed. But there was one that was like, we love getting to know the team, and also Ben. Oh, here it is. Okay. Entertaining and sex positive. Listen to this. No matter who you are, I started listening to this podcast when it was already in its 3rd season, but I listened in order. Remy is not only funny and charming, you will want to be her friend. You are my friend. But she owns her growth so gracefully. In later episodes, she reflects on her previously held views, and it's really something to admire. They've had a great variety of guests, and we've gotten to hear more from the team. We've gotten to hear from the team more over the years, including Ben, and it's all great, except for his beatboxing.
What?
Just kidding. I don't know. But there was one that was like, love getting to know Ben, but he has ruined beatboxing for all of us. I love